So that's Chaitanya-caritāmṛta. So very, very nectarian literature that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami gave us. And actually, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami himself says about the book, Shruyatam Shruyatam Nityam, Giyatam Giyatam Mura, Chintyatam Chintyatam Bhaktas, Chaitanya-caritāmṛtam. So what is he saying? Shruyatam Shruyatam Nityam means you have to hear every day. Giyatam Giyatam Mura means you have to chant every day. Chintyatam Bhaktas means you have to meditate upon it. So just not, hearing and chanting, but you have to do chintan, means you have to do meditation. You have to remember Bhaktas and Chaitanya-caritāmṛtam. So what the devotees, may the transcendental life and characteristics of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always be heard, chanted, and meditated upon with great happiness. So this is what is the recommendation of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, that we happily hear, chant, and meditate upon, meditate with great happiness upon the life of transcendental life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And also, we have so many Vaishnava bhajans where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Mahaprabhu are glorified, and Chaitanya-caritāmṛta is glorified. The associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are glorified. So many are there. So the one from Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Smara Gaura Gadhadara Keli Kalam, Hava Gaura Gadhadara Pakshachara, Shrinu Gaura Gadhadara Charu Katham, Bhaja Gotruma Kanana Kunjavitu. So he is saying Smara Gaura Gadhadara. So you remember Gaura and Gadhadara, and then become their servant, become servant of Gaura and Gadhadara, and Shrinu Gaura Gadhadara Charukatam. So listen to the narrations of Gaura and Gadhadara, and then Bhaja Gotruma Kanana Kunjavitum means you worship Lord Gaura, who's the moon of the Gotrumas, that Navadvip area. So this is just one of it. So many Vaishnava saints have glorified, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, and the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so which we have to imbibe. So apart from the if you look at what you can, I was just mentioning that we should learn, we should imbibe the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and also learn a lot from his associates. So one of the features of this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, it shows how to respect associates. I think there are so many sweet pastimes in that, which teach us how to associate with, how to respect the associates. And if you don't respect, we've seen that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually rejects. If you don't give respect to the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then he doesn't like it. So why? Because associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are actually associates of Radha Krishna. We have to remember that the associates of Radha Krishna, the Manjaris and the Sakhis, have come as associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So you have to respect them. And then through Chaitanya-caritāmṛta, the Lord also teaches us renunciation. So he's a sannyasi Shiromani, he took sannyas at such a young age. So he's teaching us Chaitanya-caritāmṛta. And then there's a lot about Vaishnava etiquette. There's a lot to learn about Vaishnava etiquette from Chaitanya-caritāmṛta, and also how to control your senses. Actually, if you notice, all the associates in Gaur Leela are males. So there is very, strict rules about, engaging in anything with women. So sense control is given a lot of importance. In fact, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never used to meet the female devotees, I think. So that's how. So all these things they teach. And then for us, like I was discussing, about Srimad Bhagavatam, we should also read and connect with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Gaura Leela is the door for Braja Leela. So if you intend on doing service to Radha Krishna, then you have to enter through Gaur Leela. Is everyone following? Any questions so far?
Yes, Mataji. I mean, no questions.
No questions. Okay. All right. So it is it's very beautiful that they say, Gaur Leela is a door to enter Braja Leela. So actually, there's one nice verse that Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati tells. So he's revealing the secret of Navadvipa Dvam. So there's a secret to Navadvipa Dvam, and this is given in the Navadvipa Shatakam. So I believe there are verses describing Navadvipa Dham, which I didn't know. So that one verse from that, what it says is, Araditam Navavanam Vraja Kananam Te Naraditam Navavanam Vraja Eva Dure, Aradito Dvijasuto Vraja Nagaraste, and Naradito Dvijasuto Na Taveha Krishna. So, very beautiful verse. I'll break that for you. So, it says, Araditam Navavanam Vraja Kananam Te. So, if you Aradita means worship. So, if you worship the 9 islands, so Navavanam, the 9 islands of Navadvipa, Vraja Kananam Te. Kananam Te. That means you are also worshipping the 12 forests of Vrindavana. So if you worship the 9 islands of Navadvipa, you're worshipping the 12 forests of Vrindavana. Na raditam navavanam vraja eva dure. So na araditam. So if you don't worship the navavanam of the Navadvipa, then vraja eva dure means you will not get the shelter of vraja. So if you don't worship and take shelter, Vrindavan will be very far. So dure means it will be very far away from you. Then Aradito Vijasuto Vrajanagaraste. So again, Aradito, if you worship Vijasuta, who's the Vijasuta here? They're referring to us, Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, who's the son of Jagannath Mishra. So if you don't worship him, Suto Vrajanagaraste, then who's actually Krishna himself, then na radito dvijasuto na taveha Krishna. So if you don't worship the Dvijasuta or Sachisuta, then na taveha Krishna means you're not going to get Krishna. So it says, so if one worships Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu in Navadvipa, one is performing complete worship of Krishna. And if you're not worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then Krishna will be far away from you. So they say worshipping Sachinandan Gaurahari in Navadvipa is as good as worshipping Krishna in Vrindavan. So this we should remember. And if we don't worship Gauraharis, sometimes we neglect Gaurahari and directly go to Radha Krishna. That is never recommended. So they say that, then your worship will also be incomplete. So that's how, they are intimately related. So the Gaura Leela and Braja Leela are intimately related. And similarly, while we are, discussing these, then they also say, if we study Caitanya-caritāmṛta, our respect for Srimad Bhagavatam will increase. And if we read Srimad Bhagavatam also, our respect for Caitanya-caritāmṛta will increase. Actually, if you have a background of Caitanya-caritāmṛta, I've heard Acharya saying that if you don't have a background, then you won't relish Srimad Bhagavatam. And if you have read Caitanya-caritāmṛta, every word that Sukadeva Goswami says in Srimad Bhagavatam will be like nectar because if we have read Caitanya-caritāmṛta, we have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy with us. So the understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam becomes better is what I heard. So it's very important to understand, the interaction between these two. Then Swarup Damodar Goswami actually says, जाओ भागवतो पढ़ो वैष्णवेर स्थाने एकांत आश्रय करो चैतन्य चरणे चैतन्य भक्त संगे नित्य करो संग तथापि जानिय सिद्धांत समुद्र तरंग. This last verse we read before. So what they're saying is, जाओ भागवत पढ़ो वैष्णवेर स्थाने means go read Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of devotees and then worship Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ashraya karo Chaitanya charane. So you take ashraya of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Chaitanya Bhakta Sangha Nitya Karo. So you take association of the Bhaktas of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Nitya every day. And then Tatapi Janiya Siddhanta Samudra Taranga. Then you will understand the philosophy. Then you'll understand the philosophy of Srimad Bhagavatam. So when you read the Bhagavatam in association of devotees, when you take the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and when you take association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's devotees, then you will understand the philosophy of Srimad Bhagavatam. This is what Swarup Damodar Goswami is also recommending. So, like I was saying, similarly, just like these books are interconnected, the worship of Radha Krishna and Gaur Nitai are also connected. So, if you are worshipping Radha Krishna but neglecting Gaur Nitai, then the worship is not fruitful. But if you worship Gaur Nitai nicely, then they say you'll also gain love for Radha Krishna. So that is the gift that Gaur Nitai will give you. If you worship them nicely, he will give you the means by which you attain Krishna Prem. So that is also very important to understand. So similarly, of course, someone may have, may start with just worship of Radha Krishna, but they say if you worship them sincerely, then you'll also gain love for Gaur Nitai. But the recommendation is first to worship Gaur Nitai, and then you'll get prema for Radha Krishna, by which you can worship. And then, so we've seen that, Navadvip and Vrindavan are interconnected. The worship of Gaur Nitai and Radha Krishna are interconnected, and how Caitanya-caritāmṛta and Srimad Bhagavatam reading is interconnected. So they are all interconnected, and that's the close association of, these two leelas happening parallelly. And then one more important thing here we have to understand is, when we do the holy name of Krishna, it is supposed to be without offenses, right? We say Krishna Nama Kari Aparade Vichar. Tara Madhya Sarva Shreshta Nama Sankirtana Niraparade Nama Laile Paya Premadana. So if you take the name of Krishna, it has to be Niraparada. So without aparadas, if you do, then only you'll get the benefit of holy name. So this verse means, of the 9 process of devotion service, the most important is to chant the holy name. But if one doing so, avoiding the 10 offenses, if you avoid the 10 offenses only, it will be, we'll get the love of Godhead. So sometimes, it may be difficult, right? We are all struggling with aparadas. So it's very difficult not to do offenses in chanting. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being, more merciful, like his Mahavadanyaya. So the chanting, they say, of Gaurnita's names is, much more easier. So what they say, Bahujanma Kare Yati Shravana Kirtana. No, this actually same thing. Krishna's names they are talking. Bahujanma Kare Yadi Shravana Kirtana Tabu Ta Na Paya Krishna Pade Premadhana. So if one is infested with the 10 offenses in chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, despite his endeavor to chant the holy name for many births, he will not get the love of Godhead. That is the ultimate goal of this chanting. So, if you continue to chant with aparadas, they are saying, many births you can keep chanting, but as long as you're doing offensive chanting, you may not get the love of Godhead with the holy names of Radha and Krishna that, we are doing. But suppose, then let's see how about, Gaurnita's names. Gaurnita's names, they say, Chaitanya Nityananda nahi esava vichara, nama lete prema dane, prema dena vahe ashrudhara. So whereas Chaitanya Nityananda names, Gaurnita's names have all these rules, and nahi esava vichara. So all these thoughts, all these, rules and regulations that we have with the holy name, they don't have. So Namalete Premadena. So you'll have a very quick advancement if you can chant Gaurnita's names. So your advancement is much more quicker, and then you're not bound by, doing it offenselessly. And that's why Srila Prabhupada gave us, right? Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we say this before the japa, so that, we are requesting Gaurnita, to be merciful and to allow us to chant the holy names of Krishna offenselessly. So we always have to take shelter of Gaurnitai before chanting Radha Krishna's name. So this is very, very important message for us, that, we have to take shelter of Gaurnitai before japa and before worshipping Radha Krishna and before approaching Radha Krishna. So that is all very important for us. Clear so far? Any questions?
No,
Girls?
Mataji.
Yes. So can somebody summarize 1 or 2 points that I said? They're all important practical things for us. 1 point each. Please. Lani. Even is there.
So,
Can you all
Mataji,
turn your videos on, please? It's like I'm talking to nobody.
yes, Mataji.
Yes,
Mataji,
ma'am.
so like,
We are, we are a very close, small group. You should all have your videos on. It should be very casual. I don't want it to be, like a one-sided class. So I hope I want it to be more interactive. Yeah. So 1 point each from what I said, that either you're going to imbibe or you like, or you going to, that is new for you. Yeah. Yeah, Disha.
so like just the point you said about chanting Gauramitai's name. So like offensive chanting does happen. So that's very nice. We get more mercy. Just chanting
Really,
Gauramitai's.
this intensely we have to pray that, we say it very casually, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, but you have to really, really beg for them to, to let this round go offenselessly for every round. Otherwise, yeah, we could be chanting for years and not getting anywhere. It's like running on a treadmill. We'll be there only. Actually, when we were reading some other japa book, this really struck me, because I was always, casually like a parrot, say those pranam mantra before doing. I mean, my focus was to focus on the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, but this mantra before I never focus. So you're always like in a rush to start chanting. So then once we were reading some book and it really struck me that, without their mercy, we can't do japa well. So intensely pray. See, we pray for a lot of things in our life, but for chanting, we are not praying. So we really need mercy of the Lord also to be able to chant nicely each day. So I think that just, spending those 2 or 3 minutes of praying before you chant is very important. Shivani, you want to share something?
Maji, I have a doubt. So when you mentioned that we take Gaurnata's name, I was under the impression just chanting Gauranga Nityananda, Gauranga Nityananda. I didn't think you meant about Panchatattva mantra.
No, see, Panchatattva mantra is in our, I don't know if people do in Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, I think they chant Gaurnita's prayers also. But Srila Prabhupada has given us Hare Krishna mantra, which is the Maha mantra. So, but even for those who chant just Gaurnitai names also, it is like they don't have to worry about the aparadha. But what our spiritual master has given is the Hare Krishna mantra, and then we are also doing the Pranava mantra. So we have kind of, both. But the recommendation is not to leave Hare Krishna mantra and do Gauranga
No,
Nityananda.
of course,
No.
yeah, because Gauranga Mahaprabhu himself chanted Hare Krishna. So
Yeah,
that's
right. So it's not.
why
But,
we have to chant Hare
but
Krishna.
like even if this mantra that we are saying or anything, whatever we are doing in terms of, whether it is deity worship or their names, we know they are very merciful. Like, we are not as we don't have to be, we have to be careful, but they're more merciful than Radhakrishna. So it gives us a little bit of leeway to do things a little more easily. Shivani?
Yes, Mataji, I like the class, but those things like about in the start, how did you tell about how the Caitanya-caritāmṛta got about, like who written the documents, like how would it come? Those are things sometimes that, they interest me a lot. So I really like them discussing about.
Sanjana?
So yes, Mati, I think the most practical one is actually accessing the mercy of Gaurnitai first before getting to the chanting, and as you said, more consciously chanting or taking the blessings of Gaurnitai before chanting. I think that's the most practical tip. And also, Mataji, so they say Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doesn't take offenses. So it's applicable only while chanting Gaurnita mantra and not so because we have offensive chanting also. So that includes only when chanting Hare Krishna mantra.
That's what they're saying. Yes. So no. See, everything has to be offenseless, but if you do it with offenses, you're not going to get Krishna prem. But even if you do with offenses, you will get Gauranga prem because he's so merciful. He's not saying you do my name offensively and you will get Krishna prem. No.
Okay.
So even if he were to offenselessly take his name, Gauranga Mahaprabhu is merciful. He'll forgive you. Just like, Jagai Madai type of a story. But Krishna Naam, to get Krishna Prem, we have to go to that stage, no? Naam, Shuddha Naam you have to go.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I like the part which says Gaura Leela is the door to Vraja Leela. I like that part. So if you all want to enter the Vraja Leela, we should do this. So, so far, we've just understood, why it was written, who wrote it, and how does it relate to Vrajalila, and why is it important to read Caitanya-caritāmṛta. In fact, they say there are, couple other verses where they say you have to read it every day, Nitya we have to read Caitanya-caritāmṛta. And then I just was looking at, the flow, like, when we came to like third, fourth chapter of our daily reading, but somehow I wasn't getting the connection between each chapter. So I was looking for something about the flow of Caitanya-caritāmṛta, and I found a couple interesting aspects that I want to share with you. So I will share my screen. This is by Swayam Bhagwan. What's his name?
Keshav Swami Maharaj.
Keshav Swami Maharaj. So he was sharing. I think they came up with a small version of Chaitanya Caritāmṛta. In that, they are sharing some nice things. So I was just hearing. So this one. Are you able to see? I know it's not a very, I just clipped it off the YouTube, not very clear, but are you able to see this?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. So here, what he's saying is, so Bhagavad Gita is foundational study. For, see, the question was that, you know, we have Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav and all, and nowhere Chaitanya Caritāmṛta features, right? We do Bhagavad Gita foundation, we do Isopanishad, Nectar of Instruction, Devotion, and Srimad Bhagavatam. But Chaitanya Caritāmṛta is not there. So actually, Chaitanya Caritāmṛta, they say, is like a postgraduate study. So whereas Bhagavad Gita is foundation. Now, why is it foundation? Because it gives you Bhagavad Gita is words of Krishna. Bhagavatam is activities of Krishna, whereas Chaitanya Caritāmṛta is more lofty because it is a mind of Krishna. So you can imagine, you know, words are, we are just listening. We are listening to Krishna, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, and we are imbibing that. Whereas when you come to Bhagavatam, it deals with the character and pastimes of Krishna and his devotees, but it is, you know, very easily relishable. Like you can connect to the pastimes and all. Whereas Chaitanya Caritāmṛta is actually, you know, it dives deeper. So it is a process and practice of devotional service. So it's a bhakti tattva. So, and then this part I like very nicely, they connect. So Bhagavad Gita starts with, you're not the body, this soul, right? So Bhagavad Gita starts with almost in the early verses, Dehinosmin yatha dehe, Kaumaram yavanam jara, tatha dehantara prapti, tira satrana muhyati. So it starts by saying that, you know, you're not the body or soul. And then it ends by saying, Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam braja. So starting to say that you're not the body or soul. And then Krishna is saying that, you know, you have to give up all religions and surrender unto me. Then, so that surrender of the end of Bhagavad Gita is like the starting of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, Srimad Bhagavatam, what is a very important verse in the beginning? Anybody knows where it starts with this similar note on what Bhagavad Gita is ending? So there is a similar verse in Srimad Bhagavatam to Sarvadharman Parityaja. What is that? A very vital verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. You should all know this.
Maji is the first verse itself, right?
One. What is the first verse?
I don't know. The first verse where basically is in that the thing.
Janmadi yasya yata.
Yeah, Janmadi yasya.
Yeah, that's the first verse, but that's not the one. It's 1.2. I mean, very early in Bhagavatam it comes. This one you have to remember that where Krishna is saying, you surrender unto me. So surrender unto me is what he's saying. So here, similar verse is this one, 1.2, very important. I only copied the first verse. So dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam. So who can read Srimad Bhagavatam? And what is Srimad Bhagavatam? Dharma projita kaitavotra means Bhagavatam rejects, you know, all dharma, all kaitava dharma. Kaitava dharma is like, you know, these false dharma where you have artha kama moksha, you have liberation, impersonalism. So everything it rejects. So it rejects, and of course nirmatsaranam satam is, you can only people who are non-envious of Bhagavatam can read, but the focus is dharma projita kaitavo. So his Bhagavatam says reject all religion. So whatever Bhagavad Gita is ending, Bhagavad Gita is ending saying, you know, give up all religion and surrender unto me. And Bhagavatam is also saying, you know, you have to give up all these kaitava dharma to read Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is the connection between the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And then the Bhagavatam ends. How does Bhagavatam end? It says, Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukkha Samanas Tam Namami Harim Param. So the conclusion of Srimad Bhagavatam is that I offer my respectful obeisance to Lord Hari. The congregational chanting of whose holy names destroys all sinful reactions. So it ends, it starts with Dharma Projita Kaitavo. So you give up all religions, it starts, and then it ends with saying you have to chant the holy name. Okay, so you're getting the connection? And then this connects with Chaitanya Caritāmṛta. This chanting of holy name, which Srimad Bhagavatam recommends, connects with Chaitanya Caritāmṛta. How it starts? The Chaitanya Caritāmṛta starts with starts with apana karimu bhakta bhava angikare, apana achari bhakti sikhaimu sabare. So where in Bhagavatam they recommended chanting of holy name, here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the beginning is saying, I will practically come and demonstrate this devotional service to you. So I'll come as in the role of devotee. So that is a correction. So where Srimad Bhagavatam ends, this Chaitanya Charitamrita starting. And then how does Chaitanya Charitamrita end? Chaitanya Charitamrita ends by this one. Eimata Mahaprabhu Ratri Divase Atmaspurati Nahi Krishna Bhava Veshe. So in the Antya Leela, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu forgot himself throughout the entire day and night, being merged in an ecstatic love of Krishna. And then there's one more where he says, so this is ecstatic love of Krishna is the ultimate goal for everybody, right? Ultimate goal of perfection. So Adi Leela is starting with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying, I will come personally to teach devotional service. And then it is ending with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu going into the mood of ecstatic love for Krishna. So he's practically demonstrating how we should all also be immersed in the ecstatic love of Krishna. So this is the connection between Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam and CC, and that's the flow of it. In fact, how this is a great demonstration of the ultimate love for Godhead. In fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes to Ishwar Puri and says, Kiba mantra dila gosani, kiba tara bala, japite japite mantra karile pagala. So he's saying, my dear Lord, what kind of mantra have you given me? I have become mad simply by chanting this Maha Mantra. So this is the madness that we all also should become. So chanting this Maha Mantra, imbibing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood, we should also become mad like how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became. And then if you ask Ishwar Puri, who's the spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says every book has a key verses, right? So Srimad Bhagavatam has very many key verses. But when somebody asks Ishwar Puri, he says the essence of Bhagavad Gita is this verse. So he quotes essence of Bhagavad Gita as this verse from 11th canto. He says, Evam vrata swapriya nama kritya Jatanurago Druta Chitta Uchai Hasati Atho Roditi Rauti Gayati Unmadavan Vrityati Loka Phaya. So what is he saying? When a person is actually advanced and takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord, who is very dear to him, he is agitated and loudly chants the holy name. He also laughs, cries, becomes agitated and chants like a madman, not caring for the outsiders. So Ishwar Puri, out of all the important Srimad Bhagavatam verses, which for us, the Krishna Leelas we'll tell, or Gopi Geet or Brahmar Geet, all those we quoted as important verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. But Ishwar Puri is calling this as the essence of Bhagavatam. Means after we read Bhagavatam, after we know the Krishna Tattva, after we know the Leelas and pastimes of Krishna, we should chant the holy name like this loudly and become agitated and become like madman, not caring for the outsiders. So this is the ecstatic love of Krishna that Chaitanya Charitamrita teaches all of us. So it is really higher. So Bhagavatam is teaching you the Leelas, whereas Chaitanya Charitamrita is teaching you the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, mood of a devotee in love with Krishna, and teaches you the ecstatic love of Krishna. So that is the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in CC. That's what we should remember. Another 5 minutes I'll spend again a very important verse, and this is really nice. I really like what they did with the flow of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Like I was struggling with the flow of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Like I didn't know which chapter deals with what, or what is Adi Leela, Madhya Leela, Anta Leela. So His Holiness has divided them into 12 words. So they've assigned 12 words to this Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Adi Leela, they divide into 4 parts, not divided, but they're looking at the flow. So there are 4 parts of the Adi Leela, 4 to Madhya Leela, 4 to Anta Leela. And then, Adi Leela, the first 1 to 12 chapters that we are reading. So, when you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, even I was thinking, the pastimes will all come very early. So it is not. So the pastimes don't come in 1 to 12. So there are no pastimes till 12th chapter. These 12 chapters are only invocation. That is what we are reading. So let me increase the font. Yeah. So what we are reading. So here invocation is literally, like introduction. So in the introduction, we read about, why Chaitanya Charitamrita was written, who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, who the Panchatattva are. Now we've read about Advaita Acharya. Then we'll read a little bit more about other Panchatattva. Then why did, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come? What are the internal reasons? What are the external reasons for coming? So all this comes in the first 1 to 12 chapters, so which is really invocation, introduction, and of course it also gives you, a little bit about creation. So it really builds a base for your rest of the Caitanya-caritāmṛta. Then 13 and 14 of Adi Leela are where Nimai is actually born. So Caitanya-caritāmṛta is like, a story. It's not like a nice flow story. There is a little bit of pastime happening, but then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami goes on to explain, the philosophy of that part. So sometimes it appears, broken, that pastime is happening, and then he gives his opinion or, his realizations about the pastime. The philosophy comes, and then more of pastime comes. So it is like that. So Nimai is born in this 13-14 chapter. And then it also describes about all the beautiful childhood pastimes of Nimai. And then how, the inhabitants receive Nimai. And then, so this is about his birth and the childhood pastimes. Then the third section is called education, which is 15 and 16, where, initially Nimai is, getting his education, right? And then he becomes a great scholar. So such a great scholar he becomes that, he has these debates with scholarly people like Digvijay Pandit and all, and then he defeats them. And so he gets the name as a great scholar. So he becomes very famous as a great scholar in this education part of the Adi Leela. Then in Adi Leela 17, which is, I think, the last chapter of Adi Leela, very important thing happens, which is a transformation. So from Nimai Pandit, who was a great scholar, he actually gets initiation from Ishwarapuri into chanting the holy name. So he gets the holy name from his spiritual master, and then he begins the congregational chanting. So from Nimai Pandit, he becomes, like Bhakta Nimai. So he takes up devotional service. And the second transformation is when he accepts the sannyasa in Katwa. So when he accepts the sannyasa, so two transformations. One is from Nimai Pandit, he becomes the Bhakta Nimai, and then from there he becomes sannyasi and receives Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's name and in Katwa, and this happens at the end of Adi Leela. Then comes the Madhya Leela. In Madhya Leela, the first 6 chapters are organization. So what is this organization? Where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, before going to Puri, he systematically gets all the associates together to start the Sankirtan movement. Especially, he trains and educates Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, and he sends them to Vrindavan with a plan to establish the Sankirtana movement. So he's organizing himself with all his associates to do the Sankirtana movement. Then the next 3 chapters, 16, 17, 18, is about the aspiration. Now, what was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's aspiration, which for sometimes he could not do? His aspiration was to go to Vrindavan. So many times, he wants to go, and sometimes he also fails to go. But then, so his long cherished aspiration to go to Vrindavan happens here. So he goes to Vrindavan and he visits all the places that, Krishna performed his pastimes. And he rediscovers all the, sacred landmarks in Vrindavan. So that he fulfills the aspiration. Then in the next 8 chapters, it is propagation. What is he propagating? He propagated the Nama Sankirtan. So here is when he travels a lot. So his South India tour comes here, and then he meets a lot of associates. He meets, cultural and social leaders, and he propagates the Sankirtan movement. And then he also, the Jagannath Rath Yatra pastime also happens in one of these chapters. And then the last section of, sorry, I'm coming in the reverse order. Sorry. First is a renunciation. So after transformation, he takes sannyasa. Then he does the renounced order. And then here he begins to travel actually. Then he goes to Shantipur. And then he takes, leave or farewell from his family. And then here is where traveling begins. So because renunciates don't stay at home, right? So after his transformation, he's renounced and then he starts to travel. After traveling, this is where this travel continues into South India Yatra and Jagannath Puri Yatra. So propagation. And then he goes to Vrindavan. And after Vrindavan, he's organizing himself into the Sankirtana movement. Then comes so these 4 sections are in Madhya Leela. Then comes the Antya Leela. In Antya Leela, the first 13 chapters are appreciation. So how, this relates to all his pastimes with his devotees. So how he appreciates Rupa Goswami, how he appreciates Raghunath Das Goswami, and how he teaches Vaishnava culture through his daily interactions, teaching, humility, surrender, renunciation, all those come in these. So there are a lot of, devotee associates pastimes in this appreciation, and also it is followed by the same chapters are also having correction. So just like, he corrects Chota Haridas for associating with women. So all those. So the appreciation of devotees, associates, and correction also happens in the first 13 chapters. Then from 13 to 19 are intoxication. Now, intoxication means he actually goes into seclusion, and his feelings of separation for Krishna become, more intense. And he goes into these transcendental moods and becomes madly intoxicated by the love of Krishna. So that is until 19. And the last chapter, 20, the 20 chapter is the concluding section of Caitanya-caritāmṛta, which is the 6 Ashtakam prayers. So you have those beautiful 8 verses, and they say, these are the only 8 verses that in writing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left for us. Of course, some claim that he may have written some small books, but this is what we have left. So we only have these 8 Shashtakam prayers from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he left for us to follow, and such beautiful prayers they are. We'll probably not talk about them. I'm really wanting to read and understand 6 Ashtakam prayers also. Know that we are doing Caitanya-caritāmṛta. I think we can do that. So this is a flow of Caitanya-caritāmṛta. So isn't that wonderful? I thought that flow map is so wonderfully done.
Yes,
Yes.
Mataji, it is
Yes.
really nice.
Any questions? So hopefully,